let me share with you what we're going to cover today. I'm going to spend a few minutes sharing with you the trends that we have been seeing in customer service. Going to spend about 10 minutes going through some slides and sharing with you just what the Service Cloud is at a high level and what are the big picture areas where it is helping our customers succeed. Then we're going to get into the fun part. We have Adam Klaus, who is a customer of ours, been using Salesforce for a while, in here with us. He's going to share some of the interesting things that he has been doing with Salesforce over the last few years. And then after that, I'm going to give you a live demonstration of the Salesforce Service Cloud platform. All right, and anybody who has been to any of our conferences has seen this safe harbor slide. It's available on our website. What it really means is if you're going to make a decision on a Salesforce evaluation, just make sure you base it on currently available functionality and nothing that may be potentially coming in the future. But let's talk about customer service first for a few minutes. Now here at Salesforce, we have the luxury of getting to speak to tons of medium-sized customers that span all different types of industries, everything from roofing to high tech to professional services. And what we notice is that there are these trends that we've been seeing as customers grow from very small businesses into medium-sized and preparing to scale to get even larger. What we see at the beginning when customers try to start addressing customer service is everything from support agents who put Post-it notes on their monitors to try to figure out who to follow up with next, agents who have all of the support issues managed in their individual email inboxes. And then when companies start growing and getting more mature with customer support, we'll see customers adapting standalone customer service tools. So these are tools that will allow you to manage issues for customers. Maybe it will have some form of knowledge base in it. And these actually can work very well in certain instances. But what we're seeing is that companies hit a point where the information that is just contained within the customer service department is not enough to get the job done efficiently. Otherwise, when we want to start growing our customer base or our company, we need to continue to hire more and more service agents to meet that need. Whereas if we were able to leverage information that other departments and other people in the company are already gathering about those same customers that we're dealing with, then we can do this in a far more efficient way and in the end provide a much better experience to our customers. So let's start with the basics. Okay, when we think about customer service and support, one of the first things that comes to mind is case tracking or ticket management. Really, this is any issue that needs to be tracked to closure. Most of the time, these are going to be customer issues. But these can also be internal issues. Maybe I need to log a ticket to provision a trial or have a broken piece of equipment repaired in our internal office. We can have different types of tickets for different use cases. Many people on the call, not everyone, but most of the people who registered for this webinar already have Salesforce in place at their company from a sales perspective. And I want to make sure that everybody knows that the ability to track cases is available today to you. You don't have to upgrade, you don't have to buy anything else. You can start tracking cases right now. Just the same way that a salesperson would open a new opportunity against a customer, track that to closure, manage all the relevant data around it, you can do that with customer support cases today. But when you want to start getting beyond just simple case management, that is where our Service Cloud platform comes in. I'm going to show you how you can use it to take all the information that you're gathering about your customers, the services of yours or the products of yours that they're using, and all the other interactions that others in your company are having to create one unified, easy experience for both your agents and the customers that you're trying to service. Now, a couple of rah-rah slides here. Some breaking news. We are very, very thrilled about this. Gartner released their new Magic Quadrant for CRM customer service contact centers. Salesforce is positioned clearly in the furthest right, which means that we have the most complete vision as well as the proven ability to execute against that vision. And the reason that we're able to win this type of recognition is not because we built some cool service tool. It's because we put our customer service functionality on top of our already proven customer relationship platform. So we didn't just go build a new standalone tool. We added and enhanced the abilities that our customers have already been using on the sales side for over a decade. And it's been proving out itself in our customer results as well. So every year, we want to make sure we're getting better and better. We have a third-party company interview, in this case, over 5,000 of our current customers, and ask them what metrics they can directly attribute to them switching to the Salesforce Service Cloud for customer service. In particular, I want to call out happier customers, okay, a 37% increase in customer satisfaction, and a 34% increase in customer retention. Okay, as we know, the hard thing for customer service is that we're viewed as a cost center. But if we're able to show that our efforts lead to maintaining more business from us, more customers renewing with our services, continuing to use us, that's more money and more profit for the business to justify our efforts. Now, what is this Service Cloud that I keep talking about, though? I'm going to quickly go through some of the high-level bullet points on these three areas, okay? But if you remember anything from the slide deck portion of this webinar, I want it to be these three things: that the Service Cloud is going to be a way to help you increase your agent's productivity, to manage your service and support on all the different channels that you might support, as well as enhancing your customers' experiences. So if we start with the way we increase productivity, it's going to be with a configurable interface where you can set up Salesforce for the way that you want your service process to work, and putting all the relevant information, whether it's from other parts of the company or other systems, quickly and easily at your agent's hands for them to be able to use. In fact, we're going to hear from Adam a little bit later. His company, Credo Mobile, is doing some very interesting things with our customer service console. We also help put answers as quickly as possible in your agent's hands. Because the whole point of this, really, if I think about it, is let's get the customer the answer as quickly as possible. Whether it's the customer going to find it on their own, or if the customer is dealing with an agent, let's enable that agent to confidently and quickly get that customer a quick answer. So we have, as you'll see later, an embedded built-in knowledge base that is going to work with you in real time to get those answers to your agents. Everything you're going to see today can be managed in real time through easy-to-use visual metrics. You're going to see some of these later. So the only thing I'll point out is just the real benefit starts coming when you can take your traditional customer service metrics that you might be used to tracking today and combine that with other pieces of information in your system, such as information the sales team is gathering. Do we see a decrease in case volume when our customers take our training courses? Are our lowest paying customers responsible for the highest volume of our service cases? These are different types of insights that you can get when you mix those two data sets together. And now, what are the different channels that we want to support? Well, Salesforce allows you to support the traditional channels, such as the phone. Okay, so you can hook your phone into the Salesforce system. You can have a controlled experience if you'd like. So if you want to do call scripting, where maybe you have newer, less trained agents you want to put in seats faster, they can be stepped through a very controlled process where Salesforce will prompt them for what to say, ask them for responses, and based on those responses, project new information to them, sort of like a decision tree. We can manage emails coming in. So emails that come in can automatically create cases. We can have all the responses back and forth tracked in Salesforce and provide easy-to-use templates for your support agents to respond faster. Then we start getting into some of the emerging channels that not everybody might be using so far, such as web chat. So if it's appropriate for you to allow your customers to, when they're on your website, request assistance live, we support that. All in the same platform, all those transcripts will be logged in Salesforce so that anybody viewing that customer can see a full picture, whether they just talked to them on the phone or somebody else just chatted with them over the website. Finally, we will empower the customers to help themselves. Whether you want to allow them to go to your website to submit cases, maybe participate in an expert community to get answers, submit service cases over social media channels like Facebook or Twitter. These are all options that you have to turn on if you would like to enable them. And what this whole thing will result in eventually is an overall better customer experience for them. So when they're dealing with your agents, they get the feeling that the left hand knows what the right hand is doing. Right? We all know that the service department is separate than the sales department or the accounting team, but the customer just wants to feel like they're interacting with your company as one whole unit. And having all that information centralized allows that experience to be presented to the customer no matter who they're dealing with in your organization. And finally, your customer is probably going to be in multiple places. Okay, so if they access your support page from the computer, you want an experience that's optimized for the computer. But I know for me, the last few times I've needed support, I've been at an ATM or I've been in a car service. I'm going to pull out my phone. So you want to have the ability to not reinvent the wheel, leverage the same knowledge-based articles, the same ability to ask questions that you already have built into your Salesforce platform, but in a mobile optimized experience for those customers who may need it. Now we're going to start getting into the fun stuff. It is my pleasure to introduce Adam Klaus, who is here from Credo Mobile. Adam, let me turn it over to you for a few minutes to just tell us a little bit about your business and what you do there.
Great. Thanks so much for having me, Darren. Great to be here. So a little background on Credo Mobile. We are very much around because of our social mission. In fact, that's why the organization was founded, and that focuses on issues of improving human rights, education, defending the environment, among other things. But our founders wanted to approach this a little differently from a traditional advocacy organization. They didn't want to have to go out and cajole people for money or write big foundation grants or things like that. They decided they wanted to run businesses to have a steadier, more consistent, and ideally larger funding stream so that we could give away donations to nonprofits who are working on these issues that we care about and do our own activism around them. Our current business is a mobile phone company, which looks just to our customers like any other mobile phone carrier. We use Sprint's network, but we source and fulfill our own handsets. We generate our own bills, and we handle all sales and customer service directly. Now, the bar on those businesses is really high. Customers aren't going to sacrifice the quality of service just because they agree with what we work on socially. So I think we actually probably have a higher bar than a Sprint or a Verizon because we need to, demonstrate to those customers that we're the real deal on the mobile phone side. I started off in our activism social side and did some project management there around some of the tools that let us grow our prospect and activist base, and then started taking on some side projects. And my first side project was our implementation for the Sales Cloud to handle all of our inbound sales for customers who are calling our call center and wanting to sign up. And frankly, I had so much fun working with Salesforce there that I started taking on some other projects too. So next I worked on our email to case project where we started doing just our customer service email inside the Service Cloud. And then finally our full implementation of the CRM and Service Cloud. And at that point, I made the jump over onto the operations side of the organization. And now I'm in charge of all of our platforms that most directly impact the customer experience.
Awesome. How long have you been with Credo again?
I've been with Credo for about 7 years now.
You guys started by using Salesforce on the sales side, and then eventually you added on the service side?
Yeah, about 3.5 years ago, we did a big custom implementation for our order taking tool, basically on the sales side. And then the last 2 years, we've been using Service Cloud as our main hub for the customer service side.
Excellent. So can you tell us a little bit about how Credo is using the Salesforce Service Cloud?
Sure. We don't have a retail presence. Customers can either do self-service through our online portal or they call, and we get a lot of calls from customers. Mobile phones are vital tools in their life, so we need to be able to deal with those issues quickly and efficiently. And so we've used Service Cloud, Salesforce, as our main hub for that agent interaction with the customer. Prior to implementing it, we had 4 or 5 systems probably that agents were jumping around to deal with these issues. It was just complicated. It was slow. They were digging up different types of information in different systems. And so our goal with the Service Cloud project was to get them the information they needed fastest in a single location. And so we've used the Service Cloud, like I said, as that hub. We're pushing up a lot of information, doing some extensive data integration from our back-end billing systems, network systems, and other in-house data, and presenting it in this complete customer view so the agent knows what's going on.
So you had sent me a couple of screenshots before today. Mm-hmm. Can you help us understand what we're looking at here and how this plays into the agent's day?
Yeah, so this is, there are 2 things that I can point out that are really vital for agents that they look at every day when they first log in. You can see these little visual dials we have here. The first one is their QA evaluations. So in order to maintain the highest quality, we have some folks at our corporate headquarters as well as supervisors at our call center who go through and listen to calls and kind of issue a report card for those agents. So you can see the dial reads the percentage that the agent is tracking to that month for their QA evaluations. You can see a little snippet of our scorecard down below that we built out in Salesforce. So it rates agents on a variety of metrics and outputs that final score. The second one is their CSAT scores. So this is a really vital metric that we use to evaluate how we're doing overall on our customer service. And we did use Salesforce to build this out end to end. So after most interactions, when customers call in, we automatically trigger a survey that goes out of Salesforce, an email that goes to the customer. I think it has 4 simple questions on it. The customer can respond. Those answers get logged straight back into Salesforce, tied to the case that was created for that interaction, and tied all the way back to the agent. So we use it to evaluate, holistically how we're doing across interactions and track our CSAT week to week and month to month, so we know that how the call center is doing. But we can also take it all the way down to the agent level, and agents are super sensitive and super curious about this information.
I'm sure.
So they can see how they're tracking on their most recent calls there and how the customers thought that they did.
Interesting. So the surveys that go out every time a case is closed, how did you guys set that up?
We used an app that we downloaded from the App Exchange inside Salesforce, customized that a little bit to set it up. It uses some workflow rules and a couple custom triggers, and a couple custom objects. It was maybe a week or 2 of development time and testing all in all, but it just almost instantly gave us this metric that we hadn't been able to measure this precisely before, that we make all kinds of decisions around.
So the agent evaluations, the QA, I know that we don't have that, doesn't just come with the Service Cloud. So how did you guys get that set up?
Right, that's a custom object, which I enjoy playing around in Salesforce also. So it's really easy to set these things up. We went in, we had our customer service team define the scores, and the metrics that they were using within this, the points that they were using for evaluation, set it up, tested it, and pushed it out. It was really quite simple.
Your internal admins and yourself were able to set up that evaluation object and start reporting on it.
Yep.
So I noticed you said, hey, the agents are very sensitive about their customer satisfaction score. They see it on their homepage every day. Out of curiosity, how far back, is there a statute of limitations after a year? How aggregate is that?
Here we're tracking their month to date in this, but in our overall stats we track month to month and watch that statistic hopefully rise. We're teetering just around 90 right now, which we're really happy about.
And so you guys have about 150 call center agents.
We do.
How frequently, on average, do you think they get evaluated?
There's a certain number that happen per agent every month. I think it's like 3 evaluations per agent per month at this point. Yeah.
Wow.
But CSATs happen far more frequently because that puts it in front of the customer. The customer responds. The volume is very high there.
Gotcha. And for the evaluations, are they being done by the agent's manager?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We have a couple of teams. We calibrate we do in-house evaluations at our corporate office, and then the call center supervisors also do them. And we calibrate between them to make sure that they are evaluating in similar ways.
Excellent. Love the creativity of what you guys are doing here. You also sent me one other screenshot that I'm very curious to hear about. This is what your agent's console looks like. Can you just tell a little bit about what we're looking at here and what's going on, how they use it?
Yeah, this is using the Service Cloud console, and this is where the agent goes as soon as they pull up the account. This is actually my account, so we're not revealing any confidential
Okay,
information.
so this is
except
a
about
fake.
me.
This is a fake record. Okay.
No, this is my real account.
Oh, it's
So,
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
but I don't mind everybody seeing it. So across the top, and down the left side, we've done a couple of custom components here. And here we did a project to look at what is the information that agents need to see at a glance at the start of almost every call. So that first panel, the account details, has basically the checklist that the agent needs to go through to verify that this is the person that they're talking to. We have authorized users on there so they can tell if the account owner has given permission to somebody else to call in about the account. An account password, if it's there. Then we have some basic account status. We've got some history. So it'll say, is this a person who's called 5 times in the last 10 days? It helps give agents a little quick read on what type of customer they're talking to. Billing information, which is critical. This is the most calls we get on anything, is people calling to have questions about their bills, as well as to make a payment. And then we have some information on other products, if they exist. Then down the left side over there, we've got some alerts. So, we may pitch to the agent that this customer is eligible to renew now on one of their lines, in which case the agent knows that they may want to ask the customer to upgrade. It pulls out open cases. If a line is suspended or anything, it highlights all of these possible conditions that the account can be in. There's a section for promotions and marketing offers down there. And one thing we've done across here is looked at the most common call drivers. So you'll see back up in that billing section at the top, there's a button for payment case. Our number one call driver, despite trying to persuade customers to do otherwise, is calling in to pay their bill. And we looked, at the number of clicks that this took the agent. So now they can actually click this button. It pops open a case. It predispositions it with the type and subtype that they're calling about, and then also pops open our payment flow. And this brings up another thing that we've done. So we have tools. We have our member portal that we use, which is a custom tool that we've built that allows customers to do all of these things themselves, or many of these things themselves. But for example, agents need to take payments as well. And payments is sensitive. There's all kinds of PCI compliance stuff around that. We built that all into the portal already. I didn't really want to maintain 2 separate user interfaces for that. We recognize that for agents, the payment process has to originate inside of Salesforce. So we used some iframes. Basically, we repurposed our custom UI and just passed the agent in, emulating the customer in order to do it. So when they make a payment, it pulls up in this sub-tab area here in Salesforce a version of our custom website, and the agent walks through just as though they were the customer to do that.
So the agent can have a separate window that's part of the same console window that would simulate the exact experience the customer would go through on the payment portal, so they can see exactly what it looks like in their shoes.
Yeah, it's not even really simulating. It just is the agent doing it on behalf of the customer using the customer's tool. So we've managed to gain some efficiencies there. In that case, when we need to make a change to the payment process, we don't have to go in and make changes in 2 separate user interfaces. It just happens in one. We've done that in a couple different situations.
I love the idea that you shared about, hey, they're eligible for renewal. Let's show that to the support agent and not just have them handle issues, but maybe generate some new business or renewals at the same time. That's awesome. We have a few people who are asking some questions online. One of the questions that just came in is, does Credo have an RMA process?
Yeah, we do returns. Customers will get a handset, and for whatever reason, they need to send it back to us. So that's an example here. We repurposed some user interfaces. So when the agent needs to process a return, they can walk through that return for the customer.
So it's just a different type of record within Salesforce. Out of curiosity, are you using the case object, or did you build your own?
No, again, this so we'll log a case for that,
Okay.
but it goes into our tool, in our custom web tool that is an order processing tool that we've built. So but we've managed to use Salesforce as the hub that links out to that. So it passes in the customer information, pulls up the correct account on that side, but it all originates in Salesforce.
Interesting. So that brings up another question. There's a lot of different sources of data here, like, for example, billing and some of these other things. Is all of this fully self-contained in Salesforce, or is some of this coming from elsewhere?
No, we do pretty extensive data integration from our billing system and other systems. So we have jobs that look every minute or so for things that have changed in the source system and push the data up here. Most of the data in Salesforce is read-only, but we consolidated it from a bunch of different sources so that it's much easier to get to now than it was before.
So the agent just has to look here. They don't have to go to those other systems just to see the information.
Yeah.
Okay. We have another question. How did you handle the implementation? Did you use a professional services team, do it yourself, combination?
We worked with the Salesforce professional services team to do our initial implementation. And since then, we've worked with another partner developer to do incremental changes to it.
So I think maybe one of the examples, the things that you were able to do yourself, I think you showed the QA evaluations. Any other quick tweaks that you guys were able to do on your own without reaching out to professional services?
Yeah, we have an in-house administrator who can do lots of different things. So, for example, last week we launched a new handset, the HTC One, which folks were pretty excited about, but it had been on market for a couple weeks before we launched it. Customers will call in and be curious about that, and it's really valuable information to understand which customers are asking about that handset. So, it took 30 seconds probably to, on the case close page, put in a checkbox that simply said, in this interaction, the customer asked about the HTC One. Check those off. As soon as we have launch, we can go back, pull those cases, reach out to those customers.
So I guess probably a lot of people who are taking the time to be on this call today are at least in the initial stages of considering a customer service tool evaluation. Would you have any advice for people for the things they should think about when undertaking that type of effort?
I think it's really important to prioritize your use cases up front. I noticed a big difference between our sales order-taking implementation, which was basically one use case. We wanted to get folks to do one thing, which was to place an order, complete it. It's pretty complicated end-to-end, but it's one path. And then Service Cloud, is 100 different use cases. Customers call in about different things all of the time. So really come up with that priority list, of what you need to get to launch, and then consider launch just the start. We got it out there. We were ready to quickly watch how agents were using it, gather feedback, consistently gather feedback, and then rapidly iterate and roll out more improvements. Service is not static. Things that customers care about change over time. So we really consider this a work in progress. We like that the technology is so responsive that we can make those changes quickly.
Great advice. We have a couple more questions for you. I'm glad people are interested. If you remember, Adam, do you remember which survey tool you used from our App Exchange?
I think it's called SurveyForce. It was a really simple survey application built by Salesforce that's been around for a while. But I think we kind of hacked it apart in some ways and customized it for our own uses.
Yeah. So, SurveyForce is one that an engineer at Salesforce built a while ago, and it's open source, so it works. But for people who want to tweak it, we allow that. This looks like a little bit of a technical question. How much Visualforce customization was done during the implementation?
Well, so our Sales Cloud implementation was all Visualforce. I did not want to do that during
and that was from your custom order process?
Because it was totally custom for us. Like going back to this 100 use cases we had for Service Cloud, I did not want to build out custom flows for all of those. So we limited our Visualforce customization during that. We did some things that we were able to repurpose across different use cases, like those iframes that go into our customer portal. Mm-hmm. We've reused that Visualforce code to point them into different places in the portal. So yes, it was limited, but we've tried to make it powerful and able to handle different use cases.
Awesome. Adam, anything else that it makes sense to share?
Oh, I could talk all day on this, but I hope I've hit some high points. I just want to underscore that we've enjoyed working with the technology. It's allowed us to be really responsive to our customers and our agents' needs, and we look forward to continue to develop it as we progress.
Well, we thank you tremendously for taking the time to come here and share not only with us, but with our customers that are on the line. We're going to switch gears here into demonstration of the Salesforce Service Cloud in my demo environment. Now, Adam said he could talk for hours about other pieces of information that he could share. By the same token, I could demo for hours all the different things that the Customer Service Cloud can do. But what I'm going to focus on today is those big three areas: agent productivity, customer experience, multi-channel, to give you enough of a sense of what this means to have a unified platform and see if it makes sense for you to reach out for your account executive, have us dig deeper into your business, and see how this platform could be configured to specifically meet the needs of your support organization. So what I'm going to do is take on a couple of different personas over the next 15 minutes to walk you through some use cases. We're going to start with me being a customer service agent. I'm going to walk through a simple scenario, maybe a more advanced case that comes in. Then I'm going to switch hats to a customer. And then finally, just give a quick overview of the different types of metrics that a customer support manager or executive could look at. Okay, so let's start with the customer service agent. That's me up here in the top left. I'm Darren. And let's say that I'm a support agent that works for a fictional company called Cirrus Technologies. And Cirrus Technologies manufactures high-end audio-visual equipment for businesses and conference rooms, special phones, video conferencing equipment, that type of stuff. So when I first log into Salesforce as an agent, this could be what I see. And front and center, one of the first things I see is whatever I have determined to be the top 3 metrics that I care about as an agent. So for me, I want to see the status of my cases that are still open. I want to see, from a competitive standpoint, how many cases I've handled already this month. And I'm curious, what types of issues am I dealing with? Is it all just billing questions? Are they more technical? Any different way that we are coding these cases, we can slice and dice this information for me to see. This is kind of a similar view if you remember what Adam showed. His agents look at their open cases, their QA evaluations, and their current CSAT score, or customer satisfaction score, month to date. So the purpose here is that these metrics can be different for everyone. The service manager can look at different metrics than the agent, and the individual agents can look at different metrics among each other. What I always tell people here is that we allow you to put 3 right here on the home page. So pick the top 3 things that are most important to you and look at the progress in real time every day when you first log into Salesforce. I also see my tasks and any calendar items. Here at Cirrus, we use Outlook for email and calendar. So this will synchronize with Outlook. So all of my tasks and meeting items, if I put them in one place, they can show up in the other automatically. But the first thing I'm going to do is take a look at different cases that are out there that are in the queue. So we have different ways to organize cases. Me as an agent, I'm concerned about mine. What are the cases that are already assigned to me? Now I can see that some of these cases have come from different channels. Some have come from the phone, some have come from email, some have come from Twitter. So I can organize whatever that relevant information is for me to look at here on my case view. And we also have the ability to slice and dice this view based on any information that we're tracking. So if I have access, I can look at what's in the escalation queue. Show me the cases that have been submitted today. Show me the critical cases. Anything at all. Any way that we code or categorize, we can have a view to show us just those types of cases. Now for the real-time channels that we support, I can manage them right here from the same console. So for example, if I wanted to make myself available for live web chat, I could do that from here. By a similar token, I can have, with my connected phone system, say that I'm available to receive calls. So any calls that come my way are going to be routed through Salesforce to help me out. So I will simulate one of these calls coming in right now. So let's say that Lauren Boyle just called us up. What's going to happen even before I pick up the phone is Salesforce has recognized the caller ID of the number coming in, matched that to the contact record for Lauren Boyle that we know has that phone number, and automatically taken me to her record in Salesforce before I even pick up the phone. And what we're looking at here is the customer service console where we can bring together all relevant information from different sources to quickly and visually give me, the agent, as clear a view of Lauren as possible so I know how to deal with her. So right off the bat, I can see that this is Lauren Boyle. I can see what she looks like. I'll pull in her real-time picture from LinkedIn or Twitter. And I know that she works for a customer of ours called United Partners. I can see that she's currently signed up for premium support. But I also have some valuable information that the sales and account team has already captured about Lauren for me. For example, I know that she's a high-paying customer. She has one of our 5-star ratings indicators. But unfortunately, the sales team has also flagged United Partners as a red account, meaning that this customer has indicated they are in danger of no longer renewing their services with us. So I want to make sure I give Lauren as much of a white glove treatment as possible. I can see anything that anybody else in the company has done with her, any calls, any emails. I can see which of our products Lauren and United Partners currently have, what the status of them are, if any are up for warranty expiration. And I can also see exactly what Lauren is entitled to from a support perspective. So I mentioned that Lauren has premium support. It means that our support admin has set up specific milestones that we will be required to meet in order to properly service her. And Salesforce will not only keep track of how well we do against those milestones, but we'll be able to take automatic actions if we start missing those deadlines to have cases get escalated, notifications go out, any of those different automatic actions that we want. All right, but let's get back to what's actually happening right now. Lauren Boyle has called in. I have seen who I'm dealing with, and I've picked up the phone. Okay, so I asked Lauren what I can help her with. And she tells me that, hey, she's been using our web portal a lot, but she really wants to change her password, and she can't figure out how to do that. So what I can do is just create a case for Lauren directly from her Premier Support entitlement to make sure that this case automatically gets attached to that SLA process. Optionally, if we have different types of case processes, such as RMA, technical issue, complaint, that go through different support processes, I can pick which one it is, and then I can type in what Lauren is telling me. So Lauren says she's having an issue resetting her password. Now notice that as I type in what she's saying, in real time, within the same console, it is searching through the knowledge base that our support staff has already put together to recommend, based on keywords, the most likely article to help me answer her question. So I can click into this article and see that, all right, we have a solution for how to help somebody change their password. I have step-by-step instructions, I have screenshots, I can embed video in here. So what I can do is walk Lauren through on the phone, hey, these are the 4 simple steps that you can do to reset your password. And if it was just a run-of-the-mill case, maybe I would just close the case out right from here, save it for metrics purposes, and be done. But Lauren's a red account. I want to make sure I'm going above and beyond with her. So I give her the instructions over the phone, but I also say, you know what, Lauren, I'm going to tell you how to do it, but we also have this article with screenshots that walks you through in case you want to see it later or pass it around to other people who might be interested. I'm going to attach this article to you in an email so you can have it to look at whenever you want. So as an agent, with one additional click, I have a pre-branded template response that automatically attaches that knowledge base article that I want to send over to Lauren. So now I can send her the email and then just go ahead and change the status of the case to close. But say, Lauren, I'm glad I was able to help you with that issue, but while I have you on the phone, let me just take a quick look at your account and make sure there's nothing else I can do for you in the meantime. So let me just take a look and make sure you have no other open support issues. And when I look at Lauren's cases, in addition to the password reset issue that I just closed with her, I also see that she was on our portal the other day and she submitted a ticket for her boardroom unit not being able to power on. So I say, hey, let me just take a quick look at this for you and make sure that there's nothing else that I can do to help you with this. So I bring up the boardroom case and I look at the case feed. This is going to be a chronological feed that shows me every action that takes place on this case, so I can go from earliest to latest. And looking at this, I see that, oh, you know what, it was actually me. And the other day, I had sent you some instructions on how to potentially get this unit to power on. Did those work out for you? And Lauren tells me that, you know what, her team did try. She tried the instructions, but the unit still isn't powering on. So I really want to help her out here, but in this situation, as an agent, I don't have any other thoughts on how to power on the unit. I've already sent her the one knowledge base article that has the instructions we've already put together, I need to sound the fire alarm and ask for help because I don't want to lose her as a customer. I want to turn her from a red account into a green account. So what I've been authorized to do in situations like this is pull that fire alarm. I'm going to tell Lauren, tell you what, I'm going to personally take care of this. I'm going to escalate this case internally. We're going to get back to you as soon as possible with an answer. So what I will do is I will change this case from normal to escalated. And what that's going to do, notice that right now, it is just me who is following the case. It's a normal case in the queue. It hasn't missed SLA, nothing special about it at this point. But once I escalate it, I have a rule behind the scenes that says, hey, we are sounding the alarm. I need all hands on deck. By hitting escalate, we automatically swarm special members of the top support staff, product engineers, the people that we have determined are going to be the most likely to help with these fire drill type issues. So these people will get a notification in their email. It'll have a direct link to this ticket to be able to dogpile on and provide any help that they can. And any help that they provide will be given in context to this case. So let me just filter out this feed so it just shows the collaborative notes here. This would be, let's say a few minutes later, Tim Support, one of our top support reps, saw this fire alarm notification. He remembers that he has seen this before too, but he doesn't remember exactly how to fix it. So he loops in Quentin Engineer, who he thinks will be able to provide a quick answer. Quentin chimes in and says, hey, I've got a short-term fix. Have her unplug it for 30 seconds. She can start using it right away. And then for the long-term fix, we're going to open up a new bug in Salesforce, track it to closure, and then mail out new power boxes to every impacted customer for this particular situation. So now I can here say, thanks a bunch, really appreciate it. All that is now tracked. And in the future, a couple things happen. If anybody searches for this similar issue, our Google-like search that we provide in Salesforce will search not just through the fields in our records, but also through any of this collaborative conversation that is taking place on the records to help me find that answer. But also, we have a policy here at Cirrus where if we encounter an issue that is new, that is not currently in our knowledge base, we want to be able to grow that knowledge base organically. So instead of just closing the issue and being done with it, what I'm going to do is close the case, code it, but then also say, I want to save it as closed, but create a new knowledge base article based on the information that we bring over from this case. And that will bring me in the same console to a what you see is what you get knowledge base article where I can put in information about this known issue. Obviously, I would spend a little time to make more verbiage. We can pull over fields. If we have a solution field that's already in the case, we can pull over fields automatically. And then I can save this. And if we want, this can go through an approval process where an agent recommends a new article, it goes to a special team that evaluates it, and then somebody clicks approve to push this article into our formal knowledge base to be available to either other agents or customers. Up to us. Okay, now let's switch hats. I'm going to have the same manly voice, I hope, but I'm going to put on my hat as Lauren Boyle. I'm going to assume the customer's identity for a few minutes now. So let's say that Lauren goes to our website and she logs on to our support portal. So this is the branded Cirrus customer support portal for Lauren. Okay, so we know that this is Lauren. She has signed in with her credentials so that we have authenticated and will present only the information that is relevant to her. So while she's on this portal, Lauren can do several things. She can see which products of ours she has registered or purchased. She can check on the status of any of the cases that she's opened. She can open new cases on her own, check out the most commonly viewed articles, request live web chat, but also perform some self-service. So let's say that Lauren has another issue that she needs help with. She's having problems with a new product that we have called the VX5. Well, one thing that you can do to start encouraging deflection is offer your customers options for how to find answers as quickly as possible, whether it's through formal pieces of information that you have published in your knowledge base, or, if appropriate, leveraging an expert community to help provide information at a more rapid pace. Because we only have 100 support agents, but maybe we have thousands of customers and experts and evangelists out there who want to be a part of the Cirrus community. So from Lauren's perspective, the value to her is going to be that she has one place to ask a question that will search through multiple sources. So for example, Lauren's going to ask, how do I fix the orientation on my VX5? One place, ask the question, and it will search through both the traditional knowledge base that Cirrus Computers has chosen to publish out to the customer, but it will also search those key terms through any social conversations that are going on. Okay, so have any of our customers already asked this question about the VX5? And if so, has there already been an answer from the community that has been flagged as the best answer? Because remember, the idea here is getting the quickest answer to the customer as possible. If we at Cirrus have not provided that answer yet, maybe someone on our community has. And now in this situation, Lauren may not even need to submit a case in the first place. We can deflect more issues away from our service staff, handle more questions without having to log more cases and hire more people. Now, if this still didn't answer Lauren's question after looking at both the knowledge base and the community, then she still can choose to post the question. Okay, and she can decide if it's appropriate for the entire community to help her out, or if this issue really is just specific to her and should be private between customer support and Lauren and United Partners. And just to point out, I understand that not every business and product is appropriate for a social support community. So where necessary, it is absolutely still possible to just have the traditional knowledge base exposed where customers can search through it, they can submit cases like normal. Finally, on this customer portal, you can choose to expose any other information about this customer that you're tracking in Salesforce. So for example, if you're tying into your financial system and you want to expose payment history or invoice status to your customers, you can do that through the Salesforce portal. All right, let's wrap up on one final note. Everything that we have been doing today, all the new issues, all the updates, all the customer knowledge-based searches, all of that can be tracked in real time on your support manager and executives' dashboards. So just like the agents look at what they care about, your support managers can look at, over the broad team, what's the workload distribution? What's our current customer satisfaction? What are the most popular articles in the knowledge base? What are people searching for that they're not finding answers for? And finally, how do we combine information from our sales and service team to figure out where we might be able to combine our efforts? Adam, did you have any concerns, or do you have any concerns about integrating your other systems into Salesforce?
Certainly, that was the most complicated part of the project, so it did require lots of planning. I think I mentioned this. We tried to minimize it by repurposing some of those user interfaces. So, for example, we did not have to build integration around the payment processing, to record any payment information directly in Salesforce and then pass it to another system. We simply framed into our existing user interface for that. So yeah, in some ways we tried to minimize it. And then just lots of good planning. So mapping out what data needed to go where on what schedule. I think it was actually a great exercise for our data management team. They learned a lot about creating this holistic customer view that has been helpful not just in the Salesforce Service Cloud project, but in other places where we're trying to expose that same kind of information.
And I think you touched on this before. How are the surveys sent and tracked in the Service Cloud?
So basically, when a case is closed, a workflow rule is evaluated that looks at several criteria that determine whether a survey email should be sent. The most important one there is that we don't survey more than once every 3 months. So some information is logged when the survey goes out that flags those accounts. But yeah, once that workflow rule fires, it sends off an email alert, which hits the customer with an email. The customer clicks on the link in the survey, comes back in to a custom Visualforce page that was part of the survey tool, fills out the survey. That survey gets logged in a custom object in Salesforce. Scores roll up to the case, and that's pretty much it. So then we can go in and evaluate. We can see that this case sent a survey on this certain date, and it also had a response, at another date and time, and this was the score. And then, from the case, we can track back to the account, obviously, back to the agent who handled the case, any number of things.
Awesome. Again, thank you all for your time. I know how valuable it is. If you have further questions, reach out to your account executive. Have a fantastic day. Adam, thank you again. This has been a pleasure talking with you. I'm so thrilled to see all the creative things you guys are doing with the Service Cloud.
It's a pleasure for me too. Thank you.